Growth is exciting, but in aviation, growth without standards can create problems faster than it creates opportunity. The companies that last are the ones that build the foundation early: quality, communication, tooling, training, processes, and the discipline to make the small details matter. Hi, I'm Patrick Kraus, host of the Nose to Tail podcast. Today I'm joined by Christpher from ERA. Let's break it down. Well, so is this your first MRO with the new company?
Second, actually.
Second?
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of improvement in terms of engagement. You know, first year we were very much, how do we do this?
Yeah.
You know, and like with a new company and everything. But I think people are starting to get to know us now. You know, especially with this, I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And hopefully people can trust us because that's what we want.
Aviation is an interesting industry in and of itself because for the most part, it's an older industry. I know that when I started in the industry back in 1999 and started to build, and I was kind of at the bottom, you're working your way up. And by the time I got to the point where I'm visiting with executives at airlines, and I am in my mid-30s, and they're all 20 to 25 years older than me. It was actually quite challenging from my personality. I wasn't as outgoing at the early parts of my career. I had a lot of practice at it. In fact, I used to grow my facial hair out and things, make myself feel like I looked older so that maybe that gap wasn't so big. And of course, now I'm the opposite. I shave my head. No
You want the opposite now.
Yeah. Now I want to be the young guy. But for the most part, experience is hugely important in the industry. And those veteran people that are in front of us that build the legacy and then they leave and then people come in and replace them. And you have this sort of generational change. And I'm always concerned about trying to mentor and drive young people into the marketplace and into the business because frankly, it's a ton of fun. And if you want to do something exciting, aviation is exciting, but they don't really see it. For the most of the public, the only aviation job they see is pilot, flight attendant, and the person at the airport that's helping them at the kiosk or to check them in before their flight. And so they don't really get to see all the massive humanity that it takes to keep all these airplanes up in the air every day and keep everybody safe. So I'm excited that we've got a young person in here that's, driving an aviation career. And we're going to get into part of that story.
Oh, definitely.
So I was told beforehand that you're a retired Marine.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
There's no such thing as a former Marine. Always retired.
Right. Yeah, that's what they say.
My buddies be proud of me for not misstating that. So was part of your aviation evolution come from the Marine Corps of what you did there?
Well, coincidentally, actually, I was a forward observer and then a JFO. So essentially, I did air traffic controlling in combat. At least that's what I was trained for. So I did deal with a lot of pilots. I did deal with a lot of different aircraft, military platforms, not commercial, of course. So I think that's honestly what piqued my interest in aviation initially. I also got my jump wings for towards the end of my career as well. So yeah, I'd say I had a lot of aviation themed situations happening during my military career.
Well, certainly the idea of having a plan and having it go change and have to change maybe frequently probably is a good theme that comes out of a lot of the folks that are retired military that work for us. They're pretty good at handling the changes that happen on a day-to-day basis that require flexibility in the business, right?
100%.
So let's talk a little bit about your company and what you guys are doing. So maybe give the short elevator pitch of who you guys are and really what you guys are specializing in.
Right. So we essentially started operating about 2 years ago. We're based down in Doral, and we have hydraulic, pneumatics, and airframe capabilities to start us off. And we're essentially doing wide body, narrow body, whatever the customer needs. We want to be able to change or start developing according to plan because, you can always speculate and develop what you think is going to be needed in the market. But every other quarter, especially every year, it changes. So, we've kind of started off very lean. And we're finally now in our second year starting to find our niche market and what we can push for everyone.
So how would you describe your niche today?
So I'm very proud of our 0 warranties up to date as an MRO. And the way I try to market us is that we're not going to tell you we're going to be the fastest. We're not going to tell you any of these elevator pitches that a lot of MROs like to do for their repair side. We're going to tell you we're going to do it in this amount of time for this amount, and you're not going to have to send it back. Our quality is very big for me. I have a background as a tech in airframe, actually. And then naturally I went over to being an inspector and then a shop manager towards the end before jumping ship and starting my own thing. So, I look at every single unit that goes through our shop and back to our customer, even down to the shipping part. I make sure that the box doesn't have a crease or the tape doesn't have a crease. Those little details matter. Because if you can't get trusted with the little details, then you can't be trusted with bigger deals, essentially.
Yeah, I certainly think having great standards in an organization is important, and they're really driven from every level. And it's great to see, people at the top of the organization, if they continue to hold standards and everybody below them keeps the same standard, it really creates cohesiveness, and it's much easier to grow when everybody's on the same page. It's much more difficult when maybe somebody is less diligent about how they package something. I remember very early in my career, in the last millennia.
It's funny. You started your career when I was born.
Yeah,
1999.
There you go. I love it. I love it. That's exactly when I started. But I remember we had to ship a quite large composite piece, and we were so early. In our development as a company, we were selling hardware: nuts, bolts, rivets, washers, gaskets,
right,
O-rings. Everything fit into a FedEx box or UPS box, and that's all we used. And all of a sudden, we've got this big, giant composite piece that's the size of the hood of my car. And we kind of didn't have a concept of how to properly ship it. And it didn't turn out well. And we came back from that, and we said, we need to put some standards in this. At the time, we were not ASA 100 certified. And we said, we need to get the ASA 100 guidance and put that into place. So to your point, having standards and having those things really be part of your DNA is hugely important. So it's great to hear you guys are starting early in your careers to say this is something that's hyper important to us. And obviously having no RMAs makes all your customers happy.
Definitely.
Jetman West ships an awful lot of parts. I think we did 15,000 repair orders last year.
Wow.
And out of those 15,000 repair orders, there were plenty of warranties and challenges there because of the volume of what it is. And they certainly interrupt our flow as an organization. And we're not the repair station. So our vendor that we rely on at some layer, we had to go back and get a warranty repair or some other challenge, and that's not on us, but it looks bad. Right. So my customer's upset with me because that unit failed.
Definitely.
Even though I didn't repair it. So you guys are hydraulics and pneumatics right now?
Yes. Yeah.
What drove you to those specific product type or genres of repair?
Well, for one, I'd say hydraulics it goes hand in hand with some airframe. For example, thrust reversers with the actuators. In order to test the functional test for a thrust reverser requires a hydraulic bench. So just that for me was a no-brainer. And also it's general enough that we can basically hit the mass market immediately, as well as pneumatics are simple enough as well that we can hit the mass market immediately. And now we're starting to see, okay, maybe we want to start getting into fuel, maybe starters a little more. We're starting to see different paths and routes that we can take. We've also taken an interest in maybe going the engine route as well. We've done a few QEC components, very small components, nothing crazy, but it's something that we've been entertaining as well in terms of future developments. But essentially, like I said, we decided that we can't speculate the market as much as we could think. So we just decided those are the most general covers that we can get.
Sure. So if you guys had one thing you're getting probably the most volume on, is that the thrust reverser actuators?
Well, I'd say hydraulics. Not specifically thrust reverser actuators, but I knew with my airframe background, we would need a hydraulic bench as well.
Okay. Now is that, are you guys Boeing centric or Boeing Airbus? Are you doing regionals? Help our listeners understand kind of where your specialties are.
Certainly. So we do Boeing and Airbus. We've done a lot of A320, A330 material as well, and some Boeing 737 new gen, classic, of course. And whatever comes across us, if we don't have the capability, a lot of times if we've developed it for one unit, It's just another step to develop it for another. And, we're very open with our customer. Hey, we don't have this yet, but if you're patient with us, we can develop it and get it done for you.
It's good, and when you have a relationship with a customer where you're delivering, they say, hey, geez, you delivered the last 10 the way we wanted, and we've got this other one. Can you guys do this? You're okay, not yet. That's great that they have the patience to say, hey, let's just do it and get it in and develop that. I mean, for the listeners out there, the real expansion is, do you have the right tooling, training, and manuals? Well, all things, the manuals are all pretty similar. You've got an A320 and a, A330, landing gear, steering actuator. Or maybe they're hugely different, but the process is probably pretty similar.
Process-wise, yes, but of course, each unit has their own proprietary tools that they may want you to use, and at the end of the day, you have to have it as per the FAA. Even though you might not use it, you got to have it.
How have you guys experienced the supply chain? And are you having any challenges on the supply chain side getting piece parts for those repairs?
You bet. You bet. Honestly, especially for a lot of structures, you'll see that even from the OEM, they're pushing over PMACU. And you just have to be open with the customer. Hey, this is what's available. This is what's not available. These are the alternates that we can go with. And if not, then they just need to be patient with us. At the end of the day, it's about transparency and communication so that their customers are secure in what's happening as well.
So if you guys looked at a different product line, are you going to have to expand? Like, so let's say you had mentioned fuel earlier. Let's say you said, hey, I want to get a fuel nozzle test bench or just a regular fuel test bench to do fuel pumps. Are you guys going to have to expand your facility?
100%. I'm actually in the talks with a developer that, of course, this is just talks and an idea. Essentially, he's going to buy land and develop it for the purpose of a facility for us. And I'm hoping if that goes through, then we'll occupy the space that we need and sublease the remaining. Because I know there's a high demand right now for a lot of storage, especially in South Florida, or even other aviation suppliers or companies that are looking to expand as well.
Yeah, and some use-built facilities are pretty important because, right, you're going to have additional power needs and some other needs from an industrial standpoint that I think you guys probably should be wise to explore. And then also, if you do take a portion, if you're a primary in a building like that, boy, I'd keep that next space next to you wide open because in my experience, once you start having success, we just keep expanding. When Jet Midwest Technic started its component shop, I think we occupied maybe 2,500 square feet.
That's about where we're at too.
Yeah, and then we're like, well, this is getting too small. We're bringing in bigger pieces. So we expanded and they went up to about 6,000, 8,000, somewhere in that range with the offices. That lasted for a little bit. We're like, geez, we need to get bigger. We want to move to the other building. So we moved them to the other building. I think right now they're probably occupying 110, 120,000 square feet. And we actually keep space next to them for a few, that's warehouse space that we actually keep, that we'll actually have ready. Say, if we're going to expand next, we're going to push all of this direction. And we're doing it the same way. Add a new product type or a new repair capability, and then all of a sudden we just kind of expand out and
Definitely
take over the warehouse folks. Or no, Chris is over here somewhere. He's always mad because we're like, hey, we're going to move the fence another 30 feet. Again.
Yeah.
It was about every 6 months for a couple of years, but
That's great.
It's starting to slow down. But yeah, it has been a lot of fun to grow and really expand. And it's helped both us. We're our biggest customer. So I'd say I've been having the parts company. We have a lot of the ROs already, but it's certainly been great to expand and now all of a sudden get a lot of third party in.
Beautiful.
Obviously, with you in the Marine Corps, you got some exposure. Was there some other motivation for you to get into the aviation sector?
Right. So I was actually a reservist. So I was able to go to college during my time in the Marines. So basically, if you're not familiar, reservists go once a month for a weekend for 4 to 2 days, depending on the month, to go train. And then a couple times a year, you might do an extended period of training, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month or whatever it is. So I was studying. I initially went to Texas A&M for mechanical engineering. Then I went to join the Marines, and then I came back to South Florida and finished up in Miami-Dade. And while I was finishing up in Miami-Dade, I was a bartender, and my now wife's father basically convinced me to come over to aviation and said, hey, man, you can learn to do good stuff over here. And, as a bartender, it was a pretty easy switch. I had always wanted to have my own business. It was just a matter of seeing where the opportunity was. And the second I hit aviation, I knew this is it.
So what did he do?
So he's actually the owner of APAS.
Okay,
So,
sure.
a very, probably a really good mentor to have in terms of what it is to start a business and what it is to start from the ground up. And he essentially right away put me all the way to the ground. And as much as I was itching to go higher and higher, he said, no, you have to do your time down there. And honestly, I'm really grateful for that because now I'm able to run this company as a startup and I'm able to do a little bit of everything and make sure that my team is packing even the boxes the way I want it to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, it really is important. I oftentimes joke, we've got, I don't know, 230 people or something, and I've done just about every job. I haven't run finance. I used to say I've never run HR, and then I got a change of head count there and got stuck in the HR hat for about 6 months. It's a tough role, and you need someone exceptional there because they keep that culture, the standards you're setting, that culture develops around that, and certainly losing sight of that with some bad hires is a challenge. And in your career, you're going to run into plenty of that. Plenty of people try and sneak into your organization that maybe don't belong. So as a young entrepreneur, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where are you guys really going to go in the next 5 years? You're already talking about expanding into another building. I'd be curious how far your vision goes.
Well, what I like to think about when it comes to business opportunities is look at something that already works, but isn't being done somewhere else, right? So I look a lot at the tech industry, which the tech industry actually looks at a lot of legacy production industries, such as Ford and any one of our legacy car companies. They've taken a lot of their practices and moved it over to the tech industry. And, they're known for being very cutting edge and obviously the AI incorporation into the businesses. So I kind of look at starting to integrate that into our company as a personal project and see how much better I can do different processes and different ways of running a business through those tools. So I really want to incorporate that into our business by the time we're 5 years ahead.
Nice. I think people hear AI and at an employee level, some of our employees get like, oh, geez, they're going to automate this thing. Am I have a job? Like they get worried. And I think one of the things we've been good about is saying, our growth isn't going to stop. And we need to bring these tools in to make you more efficient, to make you better, make your job not necessarily easier, but make your job more efficient. And there's a lot of different roles that are gonna have to change in the next coming years because of that AI that's going to be able to do a job better. And that's okay. There's plenty to do. And trust me, if I could stop hiring, I don't know that I would because we're going to keep growing. But it's like, geez, I want to make my people more efficient. I want to give them that opportunity to go, how do I make a better tool to analyze my repair work? The AI should be able to tell your technicians, you could have it even work through the design of your shop layout. And say, where this technician is left-handed, how does he lay out his tools different than a right-handed technician because he's got this job on this bench? Or is there a safety issue based on how things are set up? Or keep breaking this one tool, do we need to redesign this or whatever? And then you can use those tools to do all that work. And I think there's some real improvements that I know we're looking at all throughout our organization. And it'll be exciting for you guys to be kind of coming in the ground floor to go, man, you guys could be massively cutting edge in 5 years if you're really able to start capitalizing on these things.
Yeah, and just one of my main ideas that I want to start first when I get to it is, for example, our purchasing, customer service. A lot of times they have to hit up the shop for technical questions, interchangeability. If you're a sales rep, you need to know, hey, can I do this or not? Pass a manual through an AI. Of course, AI is also very dangerous because it's been known to make stuff up as well, given a set of data. But, that's part of the process of developing it. And once we get somewhere comfortable, then I would basically relieve a lot of the production side and just have the sales, customer service, and our purchasing team be able to operate at a much more efficient level. Like you said, it's a tool. And the beautiful thing about this industry, too, is that people can feel safe in is that it's very people-based. That's something that AI is never going to be able to replace.
Yeah, it'll be aviation in of itself is insulated a little bit of that, right? Because you have a technician sign off and you've got an inspector sign off on it. And then oftentimes, I know for Jet Midwest, we have inbound quality control inspectors, right? And people say, oh, that's receiving. I go, no, That's a quality control step right here. And then there's an outbound quality control inspector who's even a higher level trained person. So they're seeing something that went through repair, and now they're seeing it again before it leaves. And they're looking at paperwork, and they're looking at the product itself. Say, hang on a second. There's a visual challenge here, and they can get a hold of the person and say, hey, we got a problem. Can we take a look at this? So I agree with you that certainly that human beings are going to be a huge factor in aviation forever because of that. And, trust is an issue.
100%.
We want to be safe. We're talking about our favorite airplanes. Like, the one that gets me home. That's very true. Everybody wants to make it home. So, well, let me segue to that question. I ask all of my folks that are on the podcast what their favorite aircraft is and why. And I'd be curious what your favorite aircraft is.
So my favorite aircraft, given my background, is actually the A-10. Reason why? Flies low, goes hard. Basically, it wasn't built to fly. It was built around a gigantic minigun the size of a bus, basically. So yeah, that's my favorite aircraft.
Yeah, the A-10 Warthog is so cool to see the videos of it in action. And, I think, again, it was originally designed as a tank hunter.
Yes, a
right?
tank buster. It's called a tank buster as well.
Tank buster. So they designed it for that, but then they've repurposed it. In fact, I just saw something that they put out that they extended the life of a certain portion of that fleet for like another 6 years or something. Yeah, okay, we just have to keep it around.
The DoD has been trying to get rid of it forever, but they can't because no other platform is as cheap and efficient.
Yeah, just a big giant flying gun.
Oh yeah.
Have you been around one in the field?
Yeah, I've called a few in training.
That's very awesome.
It's been a good time.
That's amazing. Well, the folks out there who don't understand, and there's more missions than just that, right? They've done multi-mission with the aircraft.
Right. Yeah, it's basically air to ground.
Okay.
Close air support is what its main mission set is for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's exciting times. I'm glad to have a young entrepreneur here who's breaking into the industry. Bring that passion, that got you in the industry, and bring as many people through as you can. And it sounds like you guys have set some really good standards inside your organization. So I'll encourage you as a fellow business owner, keep tight reins on that. And if those stay in place all the time, success will surely come on the other side. And it's better than having to go back and fix something that you neglected.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the advice.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Christpher, I appreciate it. And for all of our listeners out there, thank you for listening and watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Nose to Tail. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Presented by Jet Midwest.